Hello, welcome to Aids to Scouting from here in the United States, and where we're having the World Cup in conjunction, of course, with Mexico and Canada, all three of whom are not going to be in Sunday's big game. And today we're going to talk about sports in general and the World Cup in particular with my friends and fellow soccer players, Felipe Ruiz and Tom Deaver. Tom being the funny looking one over there. So now, how about it? We've talked a little bit about scouting and the base when scouting started and how scouting America. They used to have something called athletics merit badge, but now that's called sports. And I looked at it and I was amazed how that had just all these links and all that you could come and get the rules of soccer and the rules of football and ways to exercise and first aid stuff. I mean, go online and take a look at it. It's under whatever it's under. But at any rate, so let's talk first about the World Cup and the status of it right now, because we're making this right after England went down in defeat to Argentina. Oh, que lástima estaba. Okay, now, go ahead. What did you think about that game?
I think the English were hanging in there for as long as they could. That first goal was clearly not enough. The Argentinians just bombarded them. And then, once they equalized, they brought out their big gun, Lautaro, and it was good night. It was very hard to withstand that kind of onslaught.
Oh, you know what? I didn't tell y'all the background of these two guys, so I'm going to let them just say, where were you born first? Where were you born?
Lima, Peru.
Lima, Peru, and you lived in Kenya, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh, and we're hoping to get some Kenyans on here because scouting is doing real well in Kenya. That's my understanding.
Yes.
In fact, I think it's even required to be, if you're in the school system, to be in scouts.
Oh, excellent.
And that's where, as all you probably know, that's where Baden Powell had been there. He loved it, and he ended his life there. He didn't end his own life with suicide, but he died in 1941 and is buried outside of Nairobi.
In Nyeri.
In Nyeri.
I went to visit.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, it's right by the Outspan Hotel.
Yes.
And a beautiful part of the country.
Yeah.
So to everyone in Kenya, hamjambo, karibu sana. It's a pleasure to be on this show with the world famous Mr. Walker here.
Well, he also went to school in England for years, and we had that guy on. We had a fellow on called Scoutadelic, excuse me, a young man that does a thing from England. Yes. And so one of his few trips abroad has been to Kenya and been to that place. Now, Tom, tell me a little bit about yourself. And Tom's the aviator here.
Second career. First career was actually soccer. I was born here in Atlanta, so I think of this as my home, but I did get to travel with my father, with my family who was in the military, and went to school in England as well for a little while.
Did you really?
I lived in Spain and was exposed to soccer there and fell in love with it. And that's been my sport ever since I can remember. And I've been doing it in the United States here, even though we don't really do it right here.
Well, maybe not, but the three of us play in pickup games every week here in Peachtree City, Georgia. And so sometimes 20 guys will come out and we just choose up teams, and sometimes 40 guys come out and we have to make 4 teams. And we have a really good time. And the great thing about pickup soccer is you get to play the whole time. You don't have to sit on a bench or anything, which I think's just great for me, because at my age, I'd probably be sitting on the bench the whole time if a coach had anything to say about it.
And you're one of the top scorers.
Oh, that's only because I hang out around the goal, and we don't have an offsides rule here.
Yeah.
Now, most of you that are watching will know the rules of soccer. But let's go back to, by the way, Tom's now a pilot. That's what he does now. So he flies around out of the little local airport and makes lots of money the way pilots do. you know. So, isn't that right, Tom?
Yeah, I don't know about the money, but yeah.
Yeah, but it takes skill to be a pilot, and you know they say there are old pilots and there are bold pilots, but there are no old bold pilots, because good pilots have to be very careful and very conscientious about what they do. What kind of work are you doing? Tell the folks what kind of work you do. Speak up real loud.
I do some property management, so just looking after our tenants. So this is one of our properties in
Oh,
Peachtree City
okay.
called Eastbrook Community.
Yep.
Lots of businesses here.
Look into the camera. So that's where the people are, not me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, boss.
Yes, boss. Yes,
Commander
boss.
Walker.
Yes, Commander Walker. Now back to the World Cup. What are we looking at for Sunday? I'll let you two talk. I'll try not to talk so much.
That's going to be a great game. I'm glad those two teams are in the final. Probably the two best teams, I think, ended up in the final. Spain started off slow, and with the 0-0 with Cabo Verde, that was kind of a shock. But since then, especially last game, have proven that dominating France, have proven that they are probably the best team in the world right now, except for Argentina. Maybe we'll see. You can't ever count out Messi, right? So there's a lot of enthusiasm with the Argentinians, and there's a lot of technical ability and chemistry with the Spanish, I think. So I'm looking forward to seeing the match. Yeah, it's going to be good.
We'll have two teams that are very much equals. Maybe the Argentines don't have as many famous players other than obviously the GOAT. But obviously the two best teams are in the final. And we're really looking forward to it. I think the game is unpredictable, much like life. And who knows, one funny bounce and it could make all the difference, or some dodgy referee call. Sadly, there's VAR that is kind of like a new dimension that we have to deal with as spectators.
What does VAR stand for?
Video assistant referee, I think.
I see. They've been using that, of course, in pro football for years now. And what do y'all think about VAR?
It's kind of annoying, a team like Croatia scoring a goal in the last couple of seconds and then it's being annulled, taking a bit of the thrill out of the game. So, unless you're the opponent to Croatia. But
I think it could be useful if the referee wants to use it, but I think you should leave it up to the referee, and don't try to re-referee the game, because the game is played and there's a context to it, and it's hard to see that on like a slow motion replay. So I think you have to leave the decisions up to the referee, and then if he wants help, if he wants to see something maybe he missed, he should be able to ask for the video, I think.
Yeah, we're not going to annul Maradona's first goal back in '86, are we? Or will that go to court?
Not if I'm the lawyer. Well, tell us a little bit more about what y'all think young people around the world will want to hear about, just how athletics works in conjunction with growing up and becoming a responsible adult.
Oh man, I think sports in general, can teach you how to be a good team member. How to have respect for authority, and how to deal with maybe bad calls and things in life that are difficult. I think there's a lot of parallels with life, the game, and it teaches you how to pitch in and do your part for the team, and to work with others, and to get along with others, and maybe what you can get away with and what you can't.
Excellent points. I would agree with all Tom's points. I think actually the game of football, it's better than life. If you include work in that bit, but it's phenomenal in that you're not going to find that kind of camaraderie anywhere, only on the soccer field. You're going to get excited about a game, You have to be disciplined, as in life. You got to fulfill your responsibilities, stay in your position, don't get hot-headed over small issues and jeopardize the result for your team. I really think it's so much like life in that life is unpredictable, just like the sport, and you've got to be able to roll with it. And I think you might share something with us about being prepared. Isn't that one of the mottos
Well,
of the Scouts?
I noticed when I got ready for tonight and I started thinking, I thought it was athletics, but it's called sports. And it starts off and it says, do the following, and these requirements that you have to do to get the merit badge. And it starts off, listen to this: explain to your counselor the most likely risks you may encounter while participating in sports and what you should do to anticipate, help prevent, mitigate, and respond to these risks. And then it gives sources for that, which I find interesting. And it shows that you know first aid or understand the treatment for injuries that it could occur while participating in sports, including sprains, strains, muscle cramps, and so forth. So the whole thing it's kind of he says you have to participate in some stuff, but you got to know you got to show a counselor that you know these things. One time we were playing here indoor. I think you were there, Tom, and I went up against Haley, and somehow or another, she didn't exactly foul me, but I ended up falling down and hitting my head on the floor. It was indoor, and it had that fake carpet stuff, but I was knocked unconscious. And so I immediately kind of, and I got up, and I had been unconscious
not
for a minute.
immediately. Yeah, it was not immediately.
But I didn't know that.
You thought it was immediately.
Yeah, I thought, okay. But I'd been knocked out for a minute. And so all the people, not all, but most of the people there knew enough about first aid and about concussions to be concerned about that, because you can't get knocked. If you get knocked out, there's a problem in the brain. It's a shock to the brain. And so then the question becomes, how do you determine whether this person has a concussion or not? And it's usually because the pupils of the eye are a little bit different. But if you get a concussion, you need to know it, and you need to avoid getting another one within the first 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine got 2 concussions in a row, like within a month. And he lost a lot of memory, a lot of skill, a lot of abilities. I mean, it was.
So on the day that this happened, did they then put you in goal? Or...
No, but they did. But Haley and her father did drive my car home and their car, and they stayed with me for a couple of hours just to make sure I didn't fall over or something like that.
And I think that's one of the lessons of the Scouts too. When you say be prepared, it's not just be prepared to serve and help others, to be selfless. It's also be prepared for all these things that can happen in life. Yes. When I was playing, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. So I thought I was, kind of like Ronaldo in his prime. So there I was flying through the air like Ronaldo does.
Yes.
And Raul, bastard. Raul bumped into me, and I fell and snapped my arm in half.
Ooh.
So I did not look the way it should have. When I arrived, it looked different. So anyway, I got up, and my arm was clearly fractured, and it was fortunate in that one of our colleagues there, one of our team members, told me quickly to raise my arm, and that made all the difference. So if you ever fracture your arm, lift it up.
Why is that?
I think the blood flow, it was just the right thing to do, and then he put it in a sling.
Yeah.
Someone happened to have a sling, so those are all good lessons. I mean, you don't go to a game expecting to, fracture an arm, but, shit happens. And
yeah, well, got to watch your language on international. Beep. That's one of the things the Scouts have, those neckerchiefs they wear. Yeah. And so they, in the Scout program, they show you how to use the neckerchief to make bandages, among other things, and arm slings, since it's already a triangular piece of cloth. And, tie a little knot here and all that. And if, for a broken collarbone or something, you've got to. So there's what I tell a lot of kids is, look, you're going to learn first aid.
Right.
As at even at a Cub Scout, you
Yeah.
learn a little bit of first aid, and then as you go up in the program, and I say, but this is not about getting a badge. It's about you might have to save your mother's life when
Right.
she's bleeding to death on the kitchen floor, or you come to a serious accident, and you need to not only take charge if you're the only person who knows what to do, but you've also got to know what to do,
Right.
which means you need to study first aid year after year. You never know enough about first aid. That's
Right.
all there is to it.
Right. So I guess, maybe one of the philosophies of the founders of the Scouts was, to be prepared. And really that means be prepared for things like an emergency.
Yes.
So
Well, or be prepared.
anywhere.
That's right. To make the best use of your opportunities. Let's get back a little bit to the World Cup since that's this week. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to put y'all on the spot and say if you were betting a lot of money, which team you'd bet on. But I will ask you, if you were to just guess, no money, but if you were just to guess who will prevail on Sunday.
England.
Well, that's because he went to school there and all that. Yeah, I was there when England lost, and that was a sad crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's an old. For those of you who don't know it, there's a great poem about baseball, and it's about Casey at the bat, and it talks about how he missed and struck out, and it says there was no joy in Mudville, mighty Casey struck out.
Mhm.
So you remember that one, Tom? I'm sure.
I do. I haven't heard it in 50 years, maybe, but yeah, now.
Yeah. Well, I'm so old. I remember everything except names of people and all that. So, all right. So you think England will win on Sunday, right?
No.
On Saturday, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, probably Argentina will be losing until the 80th minute, and then they'll just pull out their bag of tricks, and
Okay. Well, speaking of bag of tricks, when I watched that game with England, I thought England, they made a goal, and then they kind of just. What were they doing? Playing defense?
They parked the bus.
And they were is that what you call it?
Yeah, they invited the onslaught. You can't just sit back and let Messi have the ball over and over and cross it in.
He could cross that ball.
Every cross was good. Yeah.
Oh, I noticed that the right wing in England, he tried to cross it numerous times, and it got stopped by fullbacks in the back almost every time.
Yeah.
And so it's. But it seems to me, and you guys know much more about the tactics and strategy of soccer than I do.
I think they were playing with a little bit of fear, and I think they would have done better if they had just kept attacking themselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best defense, right?
Yeah, the first goal that they scored, how did it come about?
England?
Yes.
Yeah, England's goal was a counterattack, right?
Yes.
And far post cross to Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was the Argentinians made a mistake and they capitalized on it, and phenomenal. And I don't see why they stopped there. Unfortunately,
Yeah, they brought
It
in all
was
the
like-
defenders.
I always think if you're not 3-0, you need to get to 3-0. And because you can't even rest at 2-0. I don't
Right.
think.
Yeah.
Not in soccer and that's one thing I find real interesting about the game is how it doesn't necessarily guarantee that any team will win.
right?
Like look at Costa Verde. Or Cape Verde. I never even heard of Cape Verde. No offense if you're from Cape Verde,
Right.
but I never heard of it. We're talking to those folks out there, see, and I never even heard of it. So somebody said they may have lost the game, that last game,
Right.
but they won everybody's heart.
Yeah.
Plus I like it that they had a 40-year-old goalie.
Yeah.
This was almost this World Cup has been almost like the cup of the goalies because there've been such great goalie work. I
Right.
thought.
Which other team that played a similar strategy to the English was the Dutch. When they were playing a very solid defense, and then I guess towards the end of the game, that strategy failed them and they checked out. If they'd won, obviously the Koeman would have been the very famous guy and popular guy in Holland, but that strategy unfortunately fell apart.
Yeah, and I'm glad it did. As a fan of the game, I want to see attacking soccer. I don't want to see people just
Yeah.
blocking, the goal the whole time.
Well, it kind of worked. The Americans, those first two games, they looked kind of good the way they kind of kept it in order like that. They did, but
It was a very dynamic and attacking game.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they would have fared against a very strong defensive
Mhm.
team. I mean, I like to see different strategies, and obviously one will pay off in the end. But it's exciting to watch teams.
Well, let's talk about one thing I'd like to talk about, especially since we've got, hopefully, if not tonight or today, as the years go by and people maybe look at this, about the way that the World Cup has impacted the United States and those people who came here to see it here. The one thing that was neat, I thought, were the Norwegians.
Yeah.
And it was kind of neat to see a smaller population country do so well.
Mhm.
I
Right,
thought.
right.
And then you see those huge crowds doing that rowing thing, and in Oslo, they'd have a whole big mass of people, and then here, and that was very popular. But what are some of y'all's impressions about foreign visitors and the way things have run here?
I thought it was funny how I think on a lot of the social media you saw reports of foreigners being pleasantly surprised with America, not it being an inviting place and a friendly place, as well as a land of abundance, and they couldn't believe the amount of food that they could get at restaurants, and the variety of food and the amount of stuff they could buy at like Walmart or Costco and Buc-ee's. These places don't exist in the rest of the world, and they're able to come here and have a great time and probably leave a few pounds heavier, few kilos heavier.
I think also that the sport of football, it brings a lot of happiness. So by hosting the World Cup here, Canada, Mexico, you could see so much happiness. Particularly here, I think it was a welcome. Change the news, change whatever was the hot topic in months prior. I think for this period of time, it brought so much happiness. It brings people together. You see that in the commercials, they push that, but that the game of football, wherever you go, you associate it with good times, and I think that's why we play, because it makes us happy. We enjoy it for so many reasons. So
Yeah.
all in all, it was a huge positive. And the World Cup, it's only every 4 years, and my memories are always quite fond of a few matches and a little sadness.
I was kind of hoping England would do better and maybe win. I happened to be in Holland. I was hitchhiking around, and I was in Holland in 1966 in a pub watching that game between them and Germany.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of neat. With those two very partisan groups. And
Right.
It was a memorable event. I can still remember it.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's what life is.
Yeah, if you live long enough, you can remember something that happened 60-something years ago.
I hope we'll be talking about the next World Cup.
Yeah.
Where is that going to be?
I don't know.
Argentina.
Huh?
No, you're kidding. Really?
Argentina,
Not
Paraguay. Where else?
Are they sharing
Uruguay?
it? Yeah, I
think
guess.
that-
Yeah, they're sharing it. Yeah.
All right. And some European countries. Spain, Portugal, Morocco.
Is that the next one? I think the next one I think is Argentina.
I don't know.
2030.
Well, maybe somebody will tell us. Maybe somebody will give a comment and say, "Oh, it's going to be so and so." You idiots, you don't know. Not that it matters.
Yeah.
Today is the day the Lord has made. Rejoice and be glad in it. Right? And so now is the time. That's one of the Robert Burns poems. The most famous. Robert Burns is a Scottish poet. For any of you out there, it's amazing how many people don't know who Robert Burns was. My gosh! But at any rate, he wrote "Old Lang Syne," and so what that means, that's in Lowland Scots, and it means basically the good old days. So let's raise a cup of kindness yet for Old Lang Syne, right? And so we think about the games that we've been to and the games that we've played here. And it's just, we make good friends. It's kind of interesting. We'll play here in Peachtree City, and you'll play with guys for like 10 years or more, and you don't really know their names. Especially a lot of these guys from South America, you'll know them as Honduras or Peru. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of, or Ecuador. It's just, it's interesting, but on the other hand, we play with, it's so neat to play here with all these people that have so much skill. I'm the least skilled one out there, and the oldest usually playing, and so it's kind of neat though, because we play with from age 12 to whatever age I am, which
Actually, my son's 11, and he joins us.
yeah,
Leo.
yeah,
Scored a couple goals.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Those sneaky little kids will get around you with those clever moves they have.
I think he just has a big boot.
Well,
Not so much finesse.
I don't have either a big boot or finesse, so
You just put the ball in the net.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So when it hits me and bounces off and goes in
Yeah, they
by
all
accident.
Yeah, they all count.
Yeah, that's right. They all count. So what else do you want to tell our friends in all over the world about soccer and the World Cup this time? We've covered kind of people enjoying it, who we think might prevail, complained a little bit about some things that have happened, complained a little bit. I mean, just rulings and stuff like that.
I think maybe for those who haven't played the sport or are curious about it, just try it out. It doesn't have to be with any special league. It's just, maybe in parks, ask if you can play or find a team. At least here in Peachtree City, we're fortunate in that these two are the head organizers, and everything flows very well. Not everyone obeys the instructions as to the uniforms. I don't think I've ever seen anyone show up in white or black, maybe every other color.
Esto es un problema con ustedes, huh? Yeah, I've seen how kids all over the world play soccer, all of them. And these places, in really poor places, they may make their own soccer ball out of just get their mother to sew together some cloth or something.
Right.
And so it doesn't handle well, but they do it. And then I remember once I was in Mexico in a sort of a backwater area, and the fields were completely just dirt and with little rocks on them.
Yeah.
And we're so fortunate to be able to play on pretty well tended grass.
Yeah.
And nice goals and to play with people who have real skill. So, I like playing with people who are better than I am, which is easy for me to do because almost everybody's better. But it's great to have all that skill out there.
Yeah, and even if you don't have, your skill level is not where you want it to be, you're still going to have fun. I think when you look at the world today, sadly, everyone's got their head down, looking at a screen and scrolling, and this is you're missing out. You're missing out. You need to put that phone down. It's one thing to watch a game, another thing to go and actually play. So we've got this young chap here to my left who still goes out and
That's
plays.
me. That's right.
And I think he sets a great example. And you've got people like Tom here who, he's the organizer in chief and organizes our annual lunch, which I think it was a wonderful gathering of many people who didn't actually know each other or only knew each other by the country they came from. So maybe Mexico and Ecuador showed up, or Colombia, and they then found out that they really had a name. So that's always a plus.
And we got a couple of guys from Uganda that play there regularly, and we've had a guy from Sierra Leone and Congo, one guy, and then people, I guess, that were South African that played through the years.
Japan?
Japan too. Yeah, and so
India, Tanzania.
And Malaysia.
Yeah.
So it's a great thing. Oh, and one thing that we didn't cover is conditioning, and And I would like to just say right off, these kids will come up and they'll say, well, how old are you? And I'll tell them I'm 78 now. And they'll say, how can you do that? And I say, it's two things. First, it's luck. It's luck that I haven't gotten some kind of an injury or disease or something that just knocked me out and forever, that sort of thing, or kill me.
That's not exactly true. You fought through some injuries and
Yeah, some stuff.
some hospitalizations.
Yeah, I did, but it's luck. And the other thing is don't smoke, because that, I'll meet people and they'll say, gosh, my father's only in his early 50s and he's a wreck, and then of course you look at some people are, they're just, they've wrecked themselves. So when it comes to training, I think number one, do a lot of walking, and number two, run. Baden, when I'm doing the Baden Powell thing, I tell kids, unless you've got some kind of a real injury that keeps you from doing it, you should be able to run or slower or something like that for maybe 18 miles when you're 18 years old. And you should be able to swim for 5 miles because you can swim a long way if you swim properly.
Yeah.
But if you don't swim properly, you can't swim very far.
Yeah.
So therefore you need to learn exactly how to do it. But that not smoking, that's a big one. And let's face it, there's all kinds of companies out there in the world that want you to smoke their product. I read a thing on vaping. And this vaping, I'm not and vaping apparently is terrible for you, especially after a few years, and then you've done all kinds of damage that you're not really aware of, and then suddenly you can't do anything other than maybe die. And so,
I think you could stop and recover, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of sad how many, let's call it environmental toxins are out there that we can't avoid, like plastics.
Right.
But we can try our best to minimize them. And so all of you out there, all you kids, all you scouters need to make as good an example as you can of healthy living to your children.
Now, Walker, at what age did you stop playing the game?
Did I stop?
Start.
I used to do all kinds of stuff, but to actually playing soccer, I probably started when I was 30 or maybe 34 or something like that. I had gone out for soccer at college, but after about a week, I said, number one, I'm not going to get to play.
Right.
And I want to be on the field. I don't want to be on the bench.
Right.
But in high school, I ran the 2 mile and cross country, and I wasn't great, but I think long distance running is a good thing. In Kenya and Tanzania.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It used to be called Tanganyika, right?
You're right. Yes.
But anyway, there'll be these children to go visit their friends that live 10 miles away, and they'll all trot over there. And they're like 7 years old, and they all just trot over there for the day, and they play, and then they trot back home at dark.
Yeah.
And those people can run.
Yes.
And they have dominated for years and years. They've dominated the marathons for that very reason.
Right.
So, any rate, and what does this have to do with soccer? Well, those guys, you start looking at those professionals out there, and they have endurance, and they're trying to use it. I remember when we played indoor. Indoor takes even more energy per minute than outdoor. But on indoor, you trade in and out a fair amount. But I know some guys, they didn't want to come out. They're young and they want to stay in there. And you could see their game dropped off.
Right.
The quality of their play. I've talked too much. Let's talk about fitness, Tom. What do you think about the whole thing about building and maintaining fitness?
Yeah, I think being outside is a huge thing. Like playing indoor is fun too if you have to, if it's a rainy day or the field's too wet or something. But yeah, I think being outside is probably just as important as not smoking.
I think you're right.
For your health. Yeah. And then pushing yourself to your maximum effort for a few minutes at least, as often as you can, if it's just once a week, but preferably every couple of days or so. which you can do when you play soccer, right? So I think that's really important and something you can get from the game. And then you can be hopefully like Walker here playing when you're 78 and one of the strongest players out there.
Oh, I'm not one of the strongest. He lies a lot, but that's okay.
I think those are phenomenal points, Tom. Just go outside. If you've been indoors all day, and if you have a match to play, you go outside, and if it's a good day, you'll have a blue sky, not a cloud up there. The sun will be shining. It's just going to be amazing. It's a beautiful world out there. Just go outside, and if you want to play, go and do it.
I've been seeing some of these health issue reels and stuff and videos, and one of the things they talk about is vitamin D and how you get that from the sun, and the sun is a better source of it than pills, these vitamin D supplements or artificial light, and that they say you want the sun to come into your eyes from a low angle, like the morning sun or the late afternoon sun, just some of it. But this one doctor, he said, look how many people don't get out in the sun.
Right.
And he says, if you look at death rates, the highest death rates are in the shortest days of the year, like December, January. And then people say, well, that's probably because of this reason or that reason. He said, no, because look at Australia. And it's the other way around. At their Christmases, that's the longest time. And so like June, July is their highest death rate. So, and he says, causation and correlation and all those words we can use. He says, it's that being in the sun, being exposed to the sun. He says it's important. And so what y'all are saying, it's not just about your spirit, it's also just about vitamin D.
Right. So the health benefits are clearly there. And the other benefit is just you're going to feel happy. You're going to be happy out there. I'd say one of the great things about our pickup is the banter. I mean, it's non-stop banter, a little abuse, and that's all very welcome.
And laughing. You got to be able to laugh at yourself and then laugh with others in a way that's not really going to hurt their feelings, but there's a lot of funny things that happens during the game.
Yeah.
And it's really fun.
No one takes it too seriously, and those who take it really seriously are really funny to watch.
Yeah.
Well, I remember
they're fun to make fun of.
Yeah, they're fun to make. I remember we had somebody where we play out there. We don't use slide tackles because we're out there to have fun, and we don't want anybody to get hurt. Taking it so seriously that they do a slide tackle. And for those of you who don't know what a slide tackle is,
are we going to do
look
a
it
demo?
up. No, we're not. Not me. You two can if you'd like, but I don't want to. Of course, I can take the camera and hold it back, and you can do that and see if one of you comes up injured.
All right, then.
So we don't do slide tackles, and we don't like high kicks. Of course, that's kind of against the rules anyway. They're stopping heading the ball in youth soccer, aren't they, Tom?
Before a certain age, yeah, I think before 12 or 11, yeah. They don't let the kids head it anymore. Oh, and can I just say hey to my daughter Ella and Edson, my son? Hello.
Hello. And I'll say hello to my grandson and Max if he's watching. He's played with us out there before, here in Peachtree City, and he plays out in California. His twin sister, she does water polo. And boy, you talk about fitness. Those people are swimming the whole time, back and forth, and even if you're just treading water, you're burning calories. And plus you're out in the sun, and so she does that. And there are a lot of great sports out there. We're not trying to say that soccer's the one and only.
But it is the best.
Well, it's pretty good. I know my Dutch friend, he used to play, what do you call it? Field hockey.
Oh.
And I always wonder how field hockey and what's the other one? Lacrosse. I'm thinking those sticks. I just think I'd get hit in the face with something like that. I used to play roller hockey, like an ice hockey type game. That was real good, but boy, we wore armor. if we had any sense at all. And some people didn't, because those pucks are dangerous. When the guy does a big slap shot on one of those things, and you can get hurt. But that's one thing about getting injured is if you're afraid of getting injured, it's just sad. You gotta be brave. You gotta face danger in spite of fear. I remember we had this. I go snow skiing, and we had this Austrian guy, and he kind of teaches us and lessons. And so he had my friend Bruce, and he's up on this precipice, looking down at this deep thing going like that, like a double X with trees and rocks and all. And he says, "Well, let's do it." And Bruce says, "I don't think I want to do that." And he says, "Vasas, you're just scared." I mean, yeah, I'm scared. Of course I am. I got a family. I got a law practice. I can't just go off down that thing. So, but it sure is fun to get out there and just be out of doors and do stuff. Whether it's hiking or camping. Baden-Powell thought that you kind of almost needed to spend about a week or two every year camping, just someplace.
Yeah.
People used to do that a lot more, like in 1890.
Yeah.
Wealthy people who had houses, and of course you had these other people that were, going across the prairie in a covered wagon or something. People that had to be outdoors, but there were people they'd go camping for a week,
Right.
2 weeks in a place like Yosemite or Yellowstone.
Right.
Have you ever been to Yellowstone?
No.
Oh yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you
Not
who don't,
Yosemite, but Yellowstone.
for those of you who don't know, out there in the world, there's this place called Yellowstone, out in the northwest corner of Wyoming. That's huge, and they let the buffalo roam, and the grizzly bears, and the bears, and the deer, and the elk, and the wolves, and there's no fences. And it's all this volcanic activity in the area, and it's just a marvelous place. And if you ever get to the United States, try to get to Yellowstone. Wouldn't you say are there any other places that you would recommend to a foreigner? Foreigner doesn't sound right, because in scouting they say he's a brother to every other. He's a friend to all and a brother to every other scout, or anyway, or sister in her case. So tell me, if you were going to recommend somebody that was coming here and had a week in the United States,
Yeah.
where would you
A
recommend?
place I found spectacular was in California, where they have these massive trees.
Oh yes, the redwoods in the north. Oh
yeah.
yes.
That was a little bit surreal to see something
Yeah.
like that still standing here in the States.
Oh, it used to be thousands, millions of acres were covered with those things, and
Right.
they're huge, folks. Look it up. Everything. Wikipedia's got everything. Look up a redwood. What about you, Tom?
I mean, the U.S. has it all. It depends what you want. We have beautiful beaches in Florida, and even like tropical islands down in the Keys, if you like that, or mountains like you were talking about, in the Rockies and Yosemite in California. Like, I've never been there, but I heard it's amazing. Yeah, I want to go check out Yosemite and El Capitan and the rock climbing. Where they do that. The Grand Canyon.
Yeah. Oh yes. We in scouting, we have down at our local scout camp, we have a climbing tower, and with things, and we also have a rock face that people climb up, and so scouting also has these different camps and bases around the United States, one of which is in the Keys, the Florida Keys. So a troop goes down there and they get to go sailing and scuba diving and whatever. And then they have one up on what they call it the northern tier, where they can go up on the Canadian border in Minnesota or Wisconsin or something, but and do these long canoe trips. Elliot, my co-host, did that one time. And then they also have Philmont out west in New Mexico, and we've had the Scout Museum out there, the guy that does that. But anyway, Philmont's huge, and these troops go out and they're out on the trail for like 10 days or 12 days. They come in smelling terrible, but but I'd like every kid needs a week long, 2 week long out in the wilderness thing. I've always thought I'd like to go on like a week or 2 week long horseback ride somewhere. You know, I like horses. So, any rate, folks, we got a lot of things here in America, but you know, we are very well aware that there are a lot of other great places in the world. And so, you want to send us in somewhere, or maybe get up a group of people that would like to be on one of our podcasts and talk about Peru or any place else that you would like to talk about your country and about scouting there and about outing. That's we're trying to support the whole business of youth. That's what we're trying to do. And I thank y'all very much for coming here tonight. Is there any last thing you'd like to say before we go?
I just thank you to Walker for inviting us. It's been a huge pleasure to speak with you about something close to our heart, the sport, and something we enjoy. Soccer is on every Friday morning. So,
Every Friday morning.
that's the sunshine in our life. So,
You know, I make my whole week around Friday mornings if I can. You know, I should make it around Sunday mornings in church, but
yeah, but this is better.
no, well, that's flexible. That Friday morning's not flexible. That's the difference. Tom, how about a last comment from you over there?
I just found out my trip tomorrow got canceled, so I'll be at soccer tomorrow.
Whoa, yeah, all
and,
right.
Yeah, it's an honor to be included in this, and I just want to support whatever we can do to keep the game going. You know, with the youth, you know, be inclusive. Let people play, even though they may not seem like they're going to really help the game at first. You never know. And we all need each other to have somebody to play with. You know, it's not that fun just going out and kicking the ball against the wall. Although you can do that too if you have to. But yeah, let's keep the game going and keep it good and try to be like Walker and playing when we're, you know, in our 70s and 80s, hopefully. You know.
Hasta luego.
All right.
Y
Adios,
vayan
amigos.
con Dios.
Kwaheri.
Ciao.